Evan Ginzburg, back with another edition of Evan Ginzburg's Legends TV. As always, co-hosted by Steve Ludwig from Classic Pop Culture Radio.
Thank you. Good morning, Evan.
Good morning. And a very special co-host, Jay Matias, who's a Muay Thai fighter and a radio and TV host in his own right. Tell us about your show.
Well, first off, thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. My show is called Jay Matias Unfiltered. It's basically bringing on people and having conversation, you know, and wherever it flows, that's what we'll talk about.
You interviewed me for 2 hours recently, and it was like a career retrospective, and I'm going to play that at my memorial because it covered pretty much everything.
Oh, it was such a great interview.
Oh,
it
thank
was a great
you.
show. Both
Thank
of you
you.
guys did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, you on there, it's like you basically put me in your life for a little while. Like, you were telling your story, and it felt like a movie. That's what I like. That's why I like doing it that way.
Well, everybody's life is like a movie or book. There's a beginning, middle, and end, and you know, there's tragedy and triumph, and you know, for all of us. And speaking of triumph, you're a professional fighter. What's that like?
It's a roller coaster, just like life, you know.
Yeah.
It's really the hardest thing I've done in life. I mean, you train, you get pushed past your limits. It's a lot of growth, and you do it to the point where you kind of hate it because it's so hard, but I love it so much that it's worth it.
And when you're in our green room and you see a bunch of junk food, you have to be disciplined, right?
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to go off and binge eat. Like, before it was bad, I used to, like, I would only be healthy for my fights, and then when I'm not fighting, I would just pig out, go to buffets, eat whatever. Now I'm healthy all year round now.
So you don't prescribe to the old 6 days, you watch everything you eat, and the 7th day is the reward, and you pig out? Because a lot of bodybuilders do that.
Yeah, they do like that cheat day thing now.
Cheat day, yeah.
Yeah, I used to do that, but now I'm on a vegan lifestyle now.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
good,
changed.
good.
I lost even more. I'm not a big person, but I lost more weight. I'm leaned out more, lighter, and I just eat cleaner.
So what weight class are you?
132.
132,
Yeah.
wow. So what's Pacquiao, like 145? Or?
Around there, yeah. He's too big for me, so don't worry.
All right. That's a $400 million fight, Mayweather and Pacquiao.
Wow.
$400 million. Can you imagine?
Wow. That's it. One fight. That's it.
So
That's
how far do you want to take this? Do you want to go into UFC one day? Do you want to go into films? Like we were talking about Tony Jaa, Ong Bak. You know how great that actor is.
Yeah, I mean, Muay Thai. It's a growing sport. It's obviously originated in Thailand. Over there, it's huge. They have fights every day of the week. But in America, it's not that popular. It's still growing. There's like one huge organization called Lion Fight, which is like the UFC of Muay Thai.
Right.
Just still, it's not that big. But I mean, I'm open to other opportunities such as acting. I'm definitely willing to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you know, don't take this the wrong way, but you're certainly better looking than Steven Seagal. I mean, come on. You know, and this Tony Jaa is tremendous. We were talking about him before, right?
Yeah, he's
like the new Jackie Chan.
Yeah, he's the one that inspired me to do the sport, Muay Thai.
Really?
This is beautiful. I was just immediately like in love.
And
like,
that's ONG, and the second word BAK.
Yeah, Ong Bak. It signifies the Buddha statue, the big Buddha statue. That's Ong Bak. Yeah,
Interesting.
You know, I know this is kind of like the dark side of things, but I always have this question about wrestlers and fighters like yourself, Jay. What's the worst injury you ever sustained?
Whew. I'm not fighting now because of an injury. I had surgery on this arm. I had a bicep tendon rupture. It tore. I hyperextended my arm, and it snapped. So I've been out. It snapped September 2013, and I've been out since.
Wow.
So this is the worst injury I've had so far.
So Steve, this is your only chance of ever taking him.
Yeah. Well, no, I actually have to get the other arm, too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have to injure both arms. I might have a shot to kick him once.
Yeah, there's other thing. I mean, I got scars from elbows and stuff, but nothing in comparison to this.
Well, if you go full time into the acting, you have to watch that.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
You don't want to get too scarred up.
Yeah, that's the only bad part about this. You don't know. That's the risk you take with fighting.
Sure.
So when do you see you coming back?
Well, I'm shooting for the end of the year because I have some other health issues. Like I have leaky gut syndrome, which is like my stomach doesn't absorb the nutrients properly. So I have to take care of that as well. It's been a rough 2 years.
Other than that, you're in perfect health, though, right?
Other than that, other than that.
Wow. So why don't we show a clip of you fighting? I think the viewers will find this fascinating.
Sure.
Okay, this is Jay Matias in action, folks. Enjoy.
Let's say I stop doing Muay Thai. I'll stop 3-4 months. I'll get an itch. I feel it in my blood. It's something only I could feel. Nobody else could see it. It's intangible. So it's something really from within. It starts from the heart. So that's why through everything in this sport and lifestyle, I will thrive. And I will succeed because I'm passionate about it. And that's all I am, about love of this sport. That's why I'll go forward.
Respect yourself.
Me on GNC.
Very impressive.
Nice clip,
There you
yeah.
go. There you go.
Thank you. That was actually a project I worked on with my friend Kaleem. He works in film. He's a cinematographer. He's self-employed and he just does gigs for people.
You know, don't take this the wrong way, but I think you should lean more towards the film than getting punched in the head. What do you think, Steve?
And hyperextending the
Yes,
arm and all that
yes.
stuff. Yeah. You can just
And
pretend it happens.
People
on film.
kicking you in your bad stomach. I would lean more. No, but that very impressive though.
No, trust me, you're
We're
not
just-
the first to tell me that. Especially like my mother. My mother's always on top of me of like, why do you keep fighting? But it's something like I can't give up. Like it's something my heart wants.
But you would need a plan B regardless because, you know, realistically, how long can a fighter go? 40?
No, you're right.
I mean, what about the rest of your life?
No, you're right. I'm actually a Muay Thai instructor. So I do that for a living.
Oh, tell us about that.
Yeah, so I work at Seton Gym. I've been teaching for the past 4 or 5 years. So that's what I do for a living. Support my fighting. I can't, obviously, since the sport is not big enough, I can't depend on the purse that I get paid for.
Right.
So I work as an instructor.
And the injury. You know,
And the injury.
right? Since 2013, you know, if that's the paycheck you're looking for, you know what I mean? It's tough if you're going to get injured. You don't get paid if you don't fight.
And later in the show, we have sports agent Daniel Rose, and we'll talk about, you know, how athletes are treated or mistreated in sports by the promoters. If anybody knows, it's an agent and lawyer, so that'll be an interesting segment as well.
Jay, what do you think? Like, what are you thinking between rounds? Are you always aware, or is just like, you know, you kind of like your trainer is telling you things, but you're not really hearing it? Does that ever happen? Do you have your own plan, or do you actually listen to what the trainer says between rounds? And
The first thing, you want to listen to what he says. Majority of the times I do, but sometimes you get so zoned out that you can't even hear him.
I mean, that's what I would
Yeah.
think, right, Evan? I mean, your adrenaline's probably.
I would
going
think
so
you'd be
crazy.
looking at the ring girls. That's what I would be doing.
I've done that too. I've done that too. Like one's passing by, you're like, damn.
I like round 5.
Yeah.
Wow. Sometimes the ring girls are better than the fights. I watch boxing. I watch boxing on Showtime and HBO. It's numbing sometimes.
No, you're right. I
Yeah.
mean, but that the general thing is be focused and pay attention. Like even when you're fighting, you want to be able to hear your corner,
Oh, of course.
and they know you're listening if you do what they told you.
And very important, I have a buddy who's a cut man. We have a mutual friend,
Yeah,
Darren Antolo, who's worked with Kendall Holt and some of the Riddick Bowe, Yuri
nice.
Foreman,
Nice.
and a cut man's very important, you know, because
For
that could cost somebody a fight. I mean, you know, bad injury. So
I mean, I know from experience to have one,
Yeah.
two.
yeah, so
Not fun.
you gotta stop the flow of the blood. Plus, even if it's not that bad, it could influence the judge and the crowd, and it could work against you, right?
Yeah, you're right. It just shows you're dominating. Even if you cut them, they see it's a sign of weakness in a way.
Yeah.
Were you? I mean, were you able to keep fighting with that, or did it go down into the eye and they had to stop the fight?
They had to
I
stop
see
the
the
fight.
scar. Yeah.
This one because it could have gotten bigger. The doctor said because it's on the hairline.
Wow.
But they stopped it pretty early.
Yeah, they were always very concerned when something's around the eye. They're worried about guys' vision, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. These things happen.
Sugar Ray Leonard had a bad eye injury back in the day.
Yeah. Right.
Mm.
Was it a detached retina? I
Detached
think?
retina, I believe. Yeah.
Mm.
So what we're going to do is take a very brief time out for a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Steve a little about his upcoming radio shows. But quickly, plug Classic Pop Culture Radio.
Well, thanks. It's on planetludwig.com,
LUDWIG,
right?
like the
And-
drum.
Like the drum.
Yeah.
Check out planetludwig.com. We used to go every Tuesday, but now we go every 10 days, perhaps, because I'm getting lazy. No. Only because I find that if they're on longer than a week, more people get to listen to them that
Okay.
time. And so, yeah.
And your engineer is Rick Hendrickson, who made his TV debut.
Yeah, good old
With
Rick
us,
Henderson.
yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah. And thanks to you, with your radio show, he was your engineer. On your
You
radio
inherited Rick from me.
show. Yeah.
Anyway.
He's kept me afloat.
And Jay, plug your websites and social media.
Yeah. The website I'm working on right now, but I'm on Facebook, J Matias, Instagram, JC Tan, and Twitter, J Matias. Check out my podcast, J Matias Unfiltered. That's it.
All right. And when we come back, we're going to have Steve Ludwig with a short film that he produced and directed. That's going to be colorful. And don't you dare go anywhere, folks. More of Legends TV in just a bit.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tom Dow. We have a multidisciplinary practice in Melville and Ronkonkoma, New York, and we treat patients with many, many different conditions, from newborns through geriatric patients with numerous different techniques. There's a technique and a type of treatment for every class of patient. We have them all here. Here's my son Thomas, also a doctor of chiropractic, working on one of our patients' cervical spine. This patient has had chronic neck pain for many, many, many years, has been to a multitude of different practitioners with little or no response. And with our specialized techniques, she has improved tremendously and continues to improve on a daily basis. We have two practices, one in Melville and one in Ronkonkoma, New York. We are a multidiscipline chiropractic office. What that means is we have chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, psychologists, all working as a team and a network of outside professionals such as orthopedists and neurologists that we work hand in hand with to help determine what your injuries are and the best way to treat your injuries. I have the great pleasure of having my son in practice with me. We work hand in hand, father and son, to give our patients the best care possible, and a staff which is loving, caring, and you'll never have to wait at all in our office for service. Many times patients come into our office and they have what's called a soft tissue injury. Soft tissue injuries are like scars inside your body. If you've ever been cut on the outside of your body, you get a scar. The same thing happens inside of your body to your muscles and ligaments. So our job is to determine where those are, stretch the muscles, adjust the vertebra back into their correct position, and then refortify normal structure with exercise. That's what we do best, and I hope someday you'll come see us at one of our 2 offices. Thank you.
All right, and we are back with Legends TV, and Steve Ludwig has become a director in his own right with these short films. And
Direct, it's more like just rec, not director.
Okay.
But no, you know, as a former teacher, Evan, I get I don't know if this happens with you, Jay, but sometime when you're driving, we drove out together. You see all these signs, and there's so much misspelling going on in signs. So I got so angry, I said, I'm going to surf the net, going to find pictures of signs that are totally screwed up, and put them all in one little lump so I can get it all out of my system. So,
you know, I find that people who don't speak English, like my wife's Korean, they'll look at a sign and they'll see deer, X-I-N-G, and have no idea what the sign means, which renders the sign pretty useless.
Yeah.
Deer zing, what's that? You know,
I know a couple of guys that were going hunting once, and they saw a sign that says "bear left," so they went home.
Yeah.
Oh my
But
God.
seriously,
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, so why don't we show
Thank you,
this?
Henny. Yeah.
Why don't we show this film clip? Steve Ludwig produced and directed. Check it out, folks.
Remember at all times, please slow drively. This reminds me of one of my favorite songs, Sadapa, in the name of love. Oh wait, maybe that's incorrect. I'm sorry. It's Stapo, in the name of love, or is it Go, in the name of love? Why do I get the idea that the guy that wrote this sign has a loaded shotgun ready at all times and 2 beautiful teeth? And his neighbor, an entrepreneur, he sells firewood. And speak English, okay? Don't worry about the grammar, because after all, this is our country. And while you're at it, get a brain, morans. God, golden guns, in greets of freedom. But then, of course, freedom doesn't come free. You know that. And while we're on the subject of artificial intelligence, look right for the letter G, and then quickly turn left. This sign, they make such a big deal about it having sharp edges, but in the small print it says, the bridge is out ahead. Talk about priorities. And this guy definitely left his brains on the bus. Lost in translation. For restroom, go back toward your behind. And when you're in the restroom, you just might find some of this. And don't worry, ladies, we wouldn't forget you. Speaking of bathrooms, we are sorry for the incontinence. And just be careful, okay, when you slip. Thank you. I don't want to know where this cookie came out of, Owen. And if you're in front of the dumpster, you will be frog. I mean, you will be toad. And didn't the psychic have the foresight to realize that this sign was going to be misspelled? And I'll see you at the yard, Sard. Bard, guard, lard. Some of the 15 best things about our pubic schools. One of them is it's welcome back. Hope you had a good break on your car. And nothing like misspelling the word congratulations for the spelling bee winner. Or is that spelling bee? Sorry. Yeah, it's bad enough we confuse accept and accept, but we use the wrong one and spell it incorrectly. I think who did that last sign, whoever did it, should come here for this meeting. But our story has a happy ending. You'll be towed, but you will find $50.
Very funny. The genius of Steve Ludwig.
Yeah,
There you go.
I got it all out of my system, Evan. Thank you. Now.
You're getting good, man. I seen the one you did with your dog with the. With,
Poor Jim.
Yes.
The ashes.
I was shocked when you
Jim.
did that.
You know, it's funny. You said get it out of your system. You know, radio or TV is a blank canvas, and I would have taken that same material and made political commentary like, you know, gods, guns, etc. I would have somehow made that political and angry, which wouldn't have worked as well as what you did.
God loves murderers too. Don't worry.
There you go. There you go. So, Steve, you have ambitions to make a full-length horror film as well. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, well, you're going to assist me, but yeah, I'm finishing up my second book actually, and so my screenplay is not on the back burner, but I go to the book one night and then to the screenplay another night. But I had an idea for a horror film that a person who's on social media, the things that he reads drives him crazy. And he gets...
It's like me. I fight with people every night.
Actually, the character's name is Evan. No.
Yeah.
So he goes to his psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist says, listen, just unfriend these people. Don't be friends with them anymore. But he thinks he means, in his way of thinking, murdering them unfriends them.
Yeah,
So
that would work.
Now I see in about a month there's a new horror movie out. It's called Unfriended.
Really?
So yeah, so it might be partially back to the drawing board. Yeah, there's a new horror film coming out, Unfriended.
Wow. Wow.
Is this a new like side hobby for you, or have you been doing this for a while?
No, it's my first attempt at a screenplay anyway.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and Evan's gonna.
We know some of the most colorful people of all time that we could put in this movie.
Oh, we have no problem with the actors.
Yeah.
No.
Everyone from pro wrestlers to porn queens, etc. We know them all. So
God loves them too.
That's right. That's right. Especially them.
Yeah, porn queens with guns. I think God is.
That would be the title of a movie. That would sell. Porn queens with guns.
Yeah.
That's like Hobo with a Shotgun. Did you see that?
No.
Rutger Hauer.
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I never saw
you would
that.
love that. You would love
Hobo
that.
with a shotgun.
Hobo with a shotgun. Going to the other extreme, I saw a tremendous movie called Philomena with Judi Dench, based on a true story. Back in the day, girls would get knocked up in Europe, and the parents would be ashamed of them, teenage girls, and dump them in a nunnery, and the nuns would use them as slave labor. And it's a true story, and the lead character was searching for her kid for like 50 years. You know?
And it's a true story.
True story. Amazing movie.
Don't give away.
Amazing movie.
I haven't seen it yet.
No porn queens, no guns, but it's a good movie regardless.
But knocked up girls, so it's close.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the term you use. Sorry, ladies, but I don't mean to.
Yeah, no offense. I hate to be politically incorrect,
Right.
but anyway. So speaking of movies, we just re-released the Wrestling Then and Now documentary, which features Nikolai Volkov, Killer Kowalski, the late Tiger Khan, Don Dr. Death Arnold. A lot of these guys have passed. These are old friends of mine who have passed. Yeah.
I saw it. It's excellent, and you're really the person. You're the narrator, and you're the star of the movie who interviews all these people. And it's really
back in the day, I used to teach children, and it's kind of like mild-mannered English teachers surrounded by, all these colorful people. So
and you can rent it or buy it on Vimeo, correct?
Yeah, Vimeo, WalkerTown.com, and we're going to show a little clip of it. And Dwayne Walker is the director. And speaking of religion, he's done some interesting documentaries on religion. So at WalkerTown.com, you can check this out. Very colorful underground filmmaker. So check out the clip, Wrestling Then and Now, folks.
From the associate producer of The Wrestler, Evan Ginzburg, comes Wrestling Then and Now.
What? I think you look better with a mask on.
Learn the super secret backstage moves of professional wrestlers.
You know, he knows all those moves and can do everything, right? But
innovative ways of dealing with sexual harassment.
But I actually did make contact on his nuts, and it did hurt.
Ask yourself, what the hell is wrong with these people? Watch Saturday morning cartoons with Nikolai Volkov.
What are you doing here, Nikolai?
Yeah, save the shuttle.
That's the best one too.
Amazing likeness there.
Good looker guy.
Hear the wisdom of killer Walter Kowalski.
Think you become, the fear you become, what you say you become. Never ever be derogatory about yourself. If you're down, take the upper stand. I am Superman. I am the greatest. I am perfect.
It's a time capsule of a film. Wrestling Then and Now. Streaming to your computer, to your phone, to your TV. Download now.
All right. Wrestling Then and Now. Support true independent cinema, folks. Stream it, buy it, support it. Thank you so much. And speaking of films, you guys recommend anything? Anything you've seen lately? Theaters, cable?
Just yesterday I saw It Follows. That's the movie I was talking about before. It's pretty good. It's a horror, in the horror genre, and it's about...
it's about 90 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. It's about 90 minutes, and it was about like this. Yeah, it's about that size. But I recommend it. It's more of a psychological thriller than like monster, you know.
Well,
monster
sometimes that's better. I get tired of endless blood and
And we've said this often. They really develop the characters well in this movie, so you do care what happens.
Yeah, you care if they live or die, which is one of the things that makes Walking Dead so great.
Oh,
and it's the season finale tomorrow.
Nice.
So Walking Dead's opposite WrestleMania. What do you choose?
WrestleMania because it's live, but if I had to choose of both, I can only watch one time, it would be The Walking Dead. But I'll DVR.
If it was your last day on Earth, you'd go with The Walking Dead finale over WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I'd go with I haven't seen it, but I'd go with Walking Dead.
Walking Dead's great. The best way to explain Walking Dead is if you were watching Star Trek and like all of a sudden they knocked off McCoy or Sulu or Spock. The main characters get killed all the time, you know? And so it's legitimately suspenseful.
And I mean, I love the title. I mean, are the living really the Walking Dead? You know, those that are still alive during the apocalypse, the non-zombies? Are they the Walking Dead? Because where's their life leading?
Yeah, it's kind of rough out there. Well, you know, when zombies are attacking you everywhere you turn.
And I've been reading finally, I'm reading the comic books. And like you said, on the way here we were talking, doesn't exactly follow the comic books, but the comic books themselves are great, really well written.
I read that first compendium. I didn't read the
second.
I'm
halfway through the first.
Yeah,
but I have
good
both.
stuff. Good stuff. So graphic novels like Mouse, you know, comic books have really been elevated over the years. It's really not even for kids at this point.
No, well, you know from reading the Walking Dead compendium, it's really some heavy adult stuff in there.
Have you ever read Mouse about the Holocaust?
No.
Unbelievable.
No.
Unbelievable. I used to love Harvey Pekar, American Splendor. Those comics are great. He had one story, waking to the terror of a new day because he hated his job.
Oh my
this
God.
is something people can relate to.
A lot of people can relate. Usually it said most people suffer from heart attacks at 8 in the morning. Because
on Mondays.
Yeah.
More people die on Mondays because they're stressed about going back to work.
Oh, you're right.
Absolutely.
Like 80%.
Yeah.
You know, I retired from teaching this past June, and I still, what is it now? Going to be April soon. I still think I'm going to eventually have to go back to work sometime. Like I'm on an extended vacation or something. Right. But I'll tell you.
You enjoyed it?
Oh, it's anyone as soon as you get the chance. I mean, if it's good for you, retire. Don't think about going an extra few years because first of all, tomorrow is promised to no one. I just made up that phrase myself.
But I never heard that before.
No, I know it's new. No one's ever used that.
That's right.
No one's used that cliche before. But no, it's the truth though. It really is. I mean, you know.
Nobody expected their building to blow up the other day on East 7th Street.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, you wake up in the morning, you never know what's going to happen. Man, 4 buildings are gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
And speaking about life, I recommend a movie called The Peaceful Warrior. I don't know if any of you guys seen it, but
who's in it?
It's by Dan Millman. He made the book Peaceful Warrior, and then it got made as a movie. But it's basically about life and its lessons. It could cater to anybody from high school.
Give us one lesson. What did you learn from it?
That everything has a consequence.
That's true.
For example, if you drink all night, you're definitely going to have a hangover.
That's the consequence.
Yeah.
And they say nothing good ever happened in a club after 2 a.m. People make bad decisions.
But you know, that old country song, the girls all look prettier at closing time.
That's right. Beer goggles.
Beer goggles.
Beer goggles. Yeah. Anyway, folks, when we come back, we have sports agent and lawyer Daniel Rose. This is going to be interesting. Don't you dare go anywhere.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is me, GMC, in the place to be, the greatest MC in history. There will never be an MC greater than me. And right about now, the only place for you to be is with the one and only Madhouse TV.
You are the man.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is me, GMC, in the place to be, the greatest MC in history. There will never be an MC greater than me. And right about now, the only place for you to be is with the one and only Madhouse TV.
You are the man.
We're going to do a live commercial. Hi, I'm Renee Marie. I'm the president of Language of Love Incorporated Foundation. I'm really happy to tell you that we're going to be doing a Language of Love telethon on March 29, 2015 from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Please look for the location on my website, ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And once again, it's ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And the show will be hosted on the Madhouse TV. It really is important for you to be aware of strokes and aphasia. Strokes is the third leading cause of death in America and the first leading cause of disability. And it really is something that plays no favoritism. And it also really comes when you're not expecting. Nobody expects to have a stroke, and nobody expects to suffer from aphasia. And it really does make a huge impact in your life and change your life in one split second. So we look forward to having everyone join us once again on March 29, 2015 from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. And you can follow us on ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. Once again, it's ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And we look forward to seeing you. God bless. We're going to do a live commercial. Hi, I'm Renee Marie. I'm the president of Language of Love Incorporated Foundation. I'm really happy to tell you that we're going to be doing a Language of Love telethon on March 29, 2015 from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Please look for the location on my website, ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And once again, it's ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And the show will be hosted on the Madhouse TV. It really is important for you to be aware of strokes and aphasia. Strokes is the third leading cause of death in America and the first leading cause of disability. And it really is something that plays no favoritism. And it also really comes when you're not expecting. Nobody expects to have a stroke, and nobody expects to suffer from aphasia. And it really does make a huge impact in your life and change your life in one split second. So we look forward to having everyone join us once again on March 29, 2015 from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. And you can follow us on ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. Once again, it's ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And we look forward to seeing you. God bless.
Thank you.
Here we go. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are joined by Daniel Rose, NFL contract advisor, agent.
How you doing?
All right. And I've done some agent work with pro wrestlers, and it's never easy. You're dealing with various egos and temperaments. And tell us about your work.
Well, I'm located in South Florida, in Delray Beach, which is in the Palm Beach area. Hour from Miami, because everyone asks how close are you to Miami. I actually lived in New York for 3 years. I went to law school up here. And what happened is, practicing law, I ended up working with some clients who were former agents, and they're like, hey, why don't you'd be good for it, why don't you try? I think it must have been a practical joke gone wrong, because it's definitely been a lot of work. They got even.
Yeah.
It's not as glamorous as everyone wants it to be, what you see in the television. And I've always had a saying when people ask me about the business and management for anything, entertainment, sports, what you perceive is not necessarily the reality of what you're doing. So it's a lot of work. It's about relationships, trust, working with players and dealing with families. You almost become an extended family of who you are. So there's me and then my players and their families become an extended family. But you have to deal with teams. In the music business, you have labels. And then outside their profession itself, whether it be the football players that I work with or the musicians and labels I work with, there's always someone coming from a different direction with this idea that we're all going to get rich. And 9 times out of 10, well, let's make it 9.9 times out of 10, it's not going to go anywhere. So,
you know, I was going to say, Dan makes a great point about families of players. Now, you think just a player, but school, like kids going to school and all of that, if they're traded or whatever, there's so much of a ripple effect that I think, at least and I think a lot of the general public doesn't realize.
Now, one of my favorite stories is one of my current clients, Jeffrey Demps. He's a 2-sport athlete. He went to University of Florida. He ran track and field, won a national championship in track and field, won a national championship in college football. So he made a decision, instead of going through the draft process, to go to the Olympics. And he won a silver medal in the 4x100 relay. And then we signed him right after he got off the plane from London. And then because he hadn't gone through the draft process, he went through a vetting process because he was declared an undrafted free agent. So then you had all these teams that, amazingly, 3 weeks before the Olympics, there were maybe 3 or 4 teams interested. Now there's 32 teams calling your phone every minute, every hour. We want your kid, we want your kid. And the relationships you previously built help you because you know what teams you can trust, what teams you don't trust, who you like, who you don't like, and what's best for the player. And then once you're done with that, then you have to convince your player that this is the best deal for you, and they trust you because that trust is a bond that can never be broken. So then after the deal's done, then he got traded a year later, so then there was a move. So it's a lot of work. There's almost a concierge part of the game. And then there's always the fun games. You know, I've been to Super Bowls. You get to go to the events. You get to go to games. There are fun parts to it, but there's a lot of work behind it. You have to have a lot of patience and a lot of concern, I guess, for your guys.
I'm sorry, Evan, I cut you off here.
It sounds like you have a real bond and connection with your clients. Have you ever had the opposite experience where you just go, I don't like this person, and what do you do in a case like that?
It's kind of like dating.
Without naming names, of course.
Yeah, you kind of have to like you kind of have to like who you're working with.
It's kind of like dating.
It is, because during the draft process, your guys are going to be told by other guys trying to poach. It's called poach. You go, hey, I can get you this spot. I can do this for you. I can get you drafted. I mean, I had an occasion where I had a player that I picked up. It was a package deal a lot of times, opposed to you want me, you're going to take my friend too. We're both signing with the same agent. And I did have a case of probably about 2008, 2009, where I had reverse racism. I had a player that did not like white people. And we let him go. And it didn't work out for him in the league. I guess the attitude never carried. But yeah, there are situations where you are put in a bad situation. Will I allow that ever happen again? I guess not. You can learn as you go. I think I learn something new every day. I try to learn something new every day. I'm not perfect. I don't think my players are, but if the relationship's good, you won't have any problems. Like the relationships that we have with our players are very open and honest. I won't take a guy that I have to worry about, okay, it's 2 in the morning, when am I going to get that phone call that, you know, he's in jail or he's done this or he's done that. It's a very niche-orientated industry where I run it, where we're very comfortable with who we have.
Yeah, this is not a commonly sought out for a career path. So what would you recommend to anybody?
Well, what we started doing was we started a mentorship program we're working on right now, where we've taken young guys who want to be in the business and basically offer them like an experience, not necessarily a fancy camp where they can learn, but it's very selective. Like I must get at least 1 phone call a week. Hi, my kid wants to be a sports agent. I'm like, okay, well, first go to school, get a degree. NFL requires a postgraduate degree, like a law degree or a management type
Sometimes
degree.
you need a psychology degree.
That too.
Absolutely.
You have to be confident, I think, and it's not a cockiness of a confident, because sometimes you might not know the right answer, but you have to let your client know that it's the right answer. That's number one. 2, you have to have a rapport relationship. You have to be able to relate to your clients. It's very hard sometimes. I'll deal with players who come from the worst parts of the neighborhood. Like one of my players lived in probably the worst areas of Miami, and I went to his house, and I didn't have a problem with that. Some people might have a problem with that. Some people might not relate to the struggles that the players have before they went to college, like what happened in high school, who do you associate with. Some people just will never be able to relate. It is what it is. And in any industry, even as a lawyer, I have clients that come and see me that I won't take because I know they're not a good fit for who I am and what I do. Where in football, it's the same way. You have to know what they stand for, what they believe in, and learn everything about them, who they care about, who's tagging along. So what we do is we try to do a mentorship to try to give these kids an opportunity to learn that maybe this isn't for me. Because as everyone says, I want to be an agent, our goal is to tell them don't do it. Or if someone ever says, hey, I want to be a lawyer because I'm licensed in Florida, you might want to consider not going to law school. I'm sure you've heard that before. I'm not trying to be the party pooper or the disencouraged. I think people can do whatever they want. I mean, I'm a prime example. I was never a straight A student by far. And you know, I made it through law school, and I always said if I can get through law school academically, I think anyone can, but it's what you do afterwards. Like they always say, the lower end of the students in law school end up being in the bigger firms and running the show, and then the big A students are the ones working for the ones on the bottom.
Interesting, interesting. So Daniel, you're sitting opposite Jay, who's a champion Muay Thai fighter.
Right.
What would you advise a young athlete? Because you've seen all the pitfalls.
Yeah, it's a dirty business. As long as you love what you do, it's not a job. I always tell people that. I mean, I think you are more seasoned than I am to say that you love what you do. I mean, I don't know if you ever say, I'm a teacher, that's my job. I love educating. I think that's the important thing. A lot of times is diversify yourself. Your brother outside said you train, which is good. A lot of people should diversify. You're also young. You're in your early 20s. And I tell people you have time to go out and try things because there's room to, quote, fail. And if you're going to fail at something, go all out and do it. Don't be afraid. Give it a chance, because one thing I had, and I think I told you and maybe you outside, I had a player who played a little bit in the league. He did some arena football, and he was technically retired. He was getting a job opportunity, and they said they would wait for him if he wanted to go back to play football. And the team in Arizona called last season and said, would you like to come play with us for the last 3 games? We think we're going to win the championship, and we need you as an emergency in case one of our guys gets hurt. But you're going to play 2 games. You might not play the championship game, but you'll get a ring. And he had a decision to make. Does he start his job immediately with the company that had offered him, or does he go back to football for that one last hurrah? And the options were, the one last hurrah was to get the championship ring, to go out on his terms, where his previous exit wasn't on his terms, because he finished last season, he didn't get signed. That's the reality. He went to Arizona, got a championship, came back, and now he took the job. So I think the message I had for him is he has no regrets. If he had just taken the job, which was still going to wait for him and continue, he might be questioning himself somewhere 5 years from now. I could have had that ring. I could have left. You'll know when it's time to leave. But you know, absent, of course, injuries, which players unfortunately get injured, that's dictated for them. But you need to leave on your terms. And then when you find out, you'll know when it's over. But keep doing what you're doing, and like I said, as long as it doesn't become a job.
No, I love it.
It's
I
a
mean,
love.
I love what I do, and I haven't mentioned earlier, like, if I should seek out like acting and stuff, and I'm doing stuff like that now. Like,
Yeah.
I have my own podcast.
That's what you
and
have to
I'm
do.
doing
You
it.
have to get yourself out there. No one's going to do it for you. A lot of times, like I was talking to Evan, I work with some record labels, real ones, I call them. We get, you know, I don't listen to demos anymore. You can send me all the demos you want. We don't listen to them. I could listen to a demo. Guy gave me one time in Manhattan a CD. Could you listen to this, boss? I'm like, sure, I'll listen to it. I think it took me a minute to get through it, and I already knew. Not worth my
Wow.
time. You have to go out there and hustle for yourself. And there's a famous artist I know, his management team very well. He's one of the top artists in the country. And true story, when he first started out, he had a demo, a little CD, and he took a backpack with no money, went to LA, and handed it out to everyone he could just to get my name out there and do what I needed to do. He started from the bottom. And no one ever really knows that story, but he put the work in. It wasn't like, okay, I'm your manager now, I'll take care of everything, because it's not how it works. I'm only as good as a lawyer. I tell my clients this, I'm only as good as you are, because it takes a team to work together. Even with my players going through the process, you know, you still have to go out there and do what you need to do to get a good pro day, to interview with the teams, go to the combine and get good results. I'm not the one running the 40-yard dash in Indianapolis in my underwear. You know, I'm not the one bench pressing 225 pounds
That's
35
Steve.
times.
Yeah,
that could be you.
That's right.
But you'll make my life easier if you work towards it. You have to want it. You know, nothing in this world's given to you.
It's 50-50.
You know, it's a 50-50. It's a relationship. So that's when you know, if you watch football and you see the combine, this guy had a terrible combine. Like, what happened? He didn't bench right. It's because he's already there in his mind. But the teams already know that he's not prepared. And granted, you don't have to have the greatest results on these testing days as long as you try.
Yeah.
Because the scouts will know he might have been nervous or whatever. But at the end of the day, as long as you put in, and this is life in general, what you put into life is what you get out.
Absolutely.
So,
Now,
you know,
Dan, let's have initials for the singer with the backpack. Just initials.
What's that?
The singer with the backpack. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
All I wanted was initials.
I'll tell you off the air.
Okay.
All right. Words of wisdom and more from Daniel Rose after this very brief timeout, folks.
Thanks.
Be right back.
We're going to do a live commercial. Hi, I'm Renee Marie. I'm the president of Language of Love Incorporated Foundation. I'm really happy to tell you that we're going to be doing a Language of Love telethon on March 29, 2015 from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Please look for the location on my website, ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And once again, it's ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And the show will be hosted on the Madhouse TV. It really is important for you to be aware of strokes and aphasia. Strokes is the third leading cause of death in America and the first leading cause of disability. And it really is something that plays no favoritism. And it also really comes when you're not expecting. Nobody expects to have a stroke, and nobody expects to suffer from aphasia, and it really does make a huge impact in your life and change your life in one split second. So we look forward to having everyone join us once again on March 29, 2015 from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. And you can follow us on ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. Once again, it's ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And we look forward to seeing you. God bless.
Being a fireman is more than just putting out blazes and giving kittens CPR. Sometimes my duty demands I fan the flames, like when a call comes in from a lady who needs immediate assistance. Maybe she needs help with that computer thing. Maybe she wants to go antique. Could be as simple as understanding that walking in heels it's hard. Aussi simple que l'été dernier à Paris. C'est sympa. Maybe it's ladies' night in, and she wants a simple, delicious recipe for margaritas with a twist. First, a can of limeade. Now hold on to this. you'll be using it. Side note, kittens make everything better. Next, add water. Now, a bottle of light beer. No, shh. Trust me, I'm a professional. And last, and most important, Sauza Blue Tequila. Now, mix it up. Ole. Yes, that's what I'm trained for. Whether it's to help her choose leggings or pants, telling her leggings are pants, or discussing leggings and jeggings versus pant pegging at her next ladies' night in, I'll come to the rescue. Don't call me a hero. Just call me. Let me know what time.
TV now.
All right, and we are back with Daniel Rose. And when you look back at your career, what do you consider the highlights or something you're very proud of?
I don't really retrospect anything. I try to stay humble about success because I think it's the only way to go. I think a lot of people like to boast. I'm not one to be on social media like, here I am with these guys and taking selfies at the clubs or anything. I mean, I know a lot of good people, and I hate even saying that because to me it just comes off disingenuous to begin with. Like, some of my close friends are very well known, but I don't make it public.
I know. Yeah. In the hallway, Daniel said we couldn't look at him, make eye contact. Right. When we're on the air, it's okay, he said.
Yeah, only on the air. No, it's just like where people come on, like they'll meet a guy, like they'll run in the parking lot and see, I don't know, LeBron. Oh, I need a selfie. Like when I go out with some entertainers that are well known, you go to the gas station, that people don't want autographs anymore. Selfies more valuable, and I never understood that. And there's almost it's a no-win situation because some guy I know his rule of thumb: if you're military, anything you want, we'll probably buy your meal. Like, we're always good with military. My passion is I work with the Special Olympics, so if I ever see a kid out and he's handicapped or special needs, if I have an autograph on me of someone, I'll pass it on. Like, are you a fan of this guy? We'll do something like that. But just some people, like, I want a selfie and this and that. It's like, sorry, I'm having dinner. And then they're on Twitter like 2 hours later.
Guy's an
this
asshole.
guy's the biggest jerk I've ever seen. And it's like, well, there's a story behind it. Like, if we sit and give selfies to everyone, we're not going to eat. There's a time, place for everything. But times have changed. It's selfie central, and I'm not really a social media hog where I'm Instagramming my escapades where I'm out at 2 in the morning. I don't see any value to it. And I think that's my key, is I try to stay as humble as possible because, people are like, what's the secret? I mean, a lot of luck and a lot of drive.
I would think, too, if you were Instagramming whom you were with all the time, your clients wouldn't be too happy about that as well.
I don't even know that. I'm very selective with who I take as clients, and even my law practice as well. If I can't have a relationship where I'm going to give you bad news, or when it's bad news, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. And if I can't be that way with my clients on both sides, the law side or the sports entertainment side, then I'm being disingenuous to myself.
So you don't get starstruck then?
No, no, I don't think anyone does anymore.
Did it ever happen to you, Daniel, that you got starstruck?
No, I think just because of the way I was raised. My parents knew some people back in England that were pretty well-known bands, and Pink Floyd. My mom did aerobics with the drummer's wife, so we knew these people growing up. So, like, if I meet someone, they're famous, I'm just who I am, and I think that's really where the connection is as far as relationships and being able to relate. And my agent that got me into the business said, you need to learn how to relate to who you're working with. I think just the way that you and I are talking right now, all three of us, 4 of us in this room. 3 of us over here, 1 over here.
It's like common core math, Steve.
Yeah. Just can't get the math.
3 plus 1 equals 5.
We have 4 here, and this is how it is when I'm with whoever it is, because it's the only way to be. And we have fun on the other side. Laugh a lot. I find a lot of ironic things funny and entertaining that you might not find funny, but if it's not funny, it just has to be funny. And there are some. There's one guy, and I can't say his name on the air. He's got videos on YouTube, and you know, where he's like, oh, I'm a sports agent, this and that, and it's like, well, who do you represent? And he'll be like, well, Google it. Well, you don't represent anyone. Like yours, you know, so I don't get sued. In my opinion, you're as fake as they come. You know, you don't represent anyone, and I see no value in that, but it works for him. It won't work for me because I'm too authentic about things, but for these guys, they'll blast, oh, I'll do this, I'll do that. There's no value to it because you guys don't care. You know, you know, who really cares at the end of the day? Who cares?
It's almost, it's like an ego pleaser. They want to please themselves more than anything.
Yeah, I think
Look at me.
Yeah, good point.
I think ego is the biggest enemy of a lot of these guys, and you'll see a lot of agents, they'll fall flat on their faces because the ego just got the best of them. I think anyone that gets into reading Ponzi scheme type books, American Greed type issues, you know, these guys made like $3 million honestly, and then the ego checks in, they make 40, 50 million in a Ponzi scheme, and they blow it. And it's like, what was it all for? You had $3 million to start, you couldn't live on that. You know, now you're going to jail for the rest of your life because you stole 30 million, ruined all these people's lives. It just, I don't understand why people are like that, but it doesn't serve any purpose to me whatsoever.
I totally understood what you said about not bothering people when they're eating, but what responsibilities, if any, do you think a celebrity has to, you know, charity and making the world a better place, or is it, or do they have no responsibility?
I mean, it's more of a, call it the code. That's my nickname for it, where there's certain underwritten roles and responsibilities. As a lawyer, some athletes don't like to pay. You know, you never stiff the little guy. And I think when it comes to Special Olympics and really good organizations, there are no boundaries, like Make-A-Wish. I'm a proponent of Special Olympics. I will do anything for them. I had to send a chapter in Tampa, a huge poster autographed of a player, just to, you know, their donor was a big fan. I'm like, here, overnight it. It's yours. Thank you. We got the donation. I think you owe an obligation to that end. And with my players that come from the inner city, like the ones from Miami, it's almost an unspoken rule. You make a lot of money, you need to give back to the kids to make sure that they have opportunities, you know, backpacks, whatever they need for school. Education's important. That's almost an underwritten rule, but I think when it comes to certain elements of you know, kids in distress or whatever, there are no boundaries. But, you know, if it's you or me just having dinner and we see someone over there, he owes us nothing. You know, some players are polite. We'll sign autographs in the mail, just send a $10 donation to my charity and I'll sign something for you. But again, it's tough because if I know a player that will sign free autographs in the mail, people just can't send one. They got to send 9 or 10 so they can sell 8 and keep one. Right. And they ruin it for everyone. So if you're out there sending autographs to your favorite athletes, my advice is send a couple. Always give them one to keep. Like if you're going to send a trading card, send him 3 and say keep 1 or sign the other 2 for me. Don't send 9 and then when he sends 3 back and he kept 6 because he's going to give them to other people, right, he's a jerk. Exactly. You know, they owe you nothing. Show some common sense because these guys are people too. You know, they have feelings.
We must go to a commercial. We will be right back with Legands TV.
Nice.
Okay.
Got to get the plug.
No, we're going to
I got one more break.
Could switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Do dogs chase cats?
15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
All right, and we are back with Legends TV, and Daniel Rose is instilling wisdom. And the theme I keep getting is drive, determination, and this is what I tell to all people. Luck is when persistence meets opportunity. What's your take on that?
I agree with that. I mean, I think we call it luck, but it's hard work. I mean, I get up early in the morning, I go home late at night. I put my time in, you know, and I like working hard. There's a drive that you have to have. Some people have it, some people don't. It's not something that you're born with, maybe it is, but there are people out there that you see that just have a drive to do what they need to do. I think you guys can answer the question better as educators, the both of you, because you see students that you know are going to be successful or going to at least have an opportunity because they have a drive in them, like a will to succeed, where, yeah, some that couldn't care less, like my parents have money, they'll just figure it out for me for the rest of my life. But I think everyone deserves an opportunity to try anything. It's up to them.
And you keep mentioning your parents. Tell us how they've influenced you.
I'd say they're my biggest influence. I have a very close family. I have a small family. That might be the difference here, where I grew up. I grew up in England. I moved here in '81 to Florida. I have a mother and father and a brother. That's it. I had grandparents, 2 on each side. Cousins, not many. But that I think gives guys. My parents were always down to earth. And my dad did very well as a doctor. He's a dentist in South Florida. He did well. I mean, he wasn't a billionaire or anything like that, but it didn't matter. My dad worked for himself his whole life. With my mom, they worked together, and we learned to treat everyone the same. It doesn't matter. You know, money doesn't dictate who is more important than someone else. Because I know people that have money that you would never know they have money, just because they're so humble. And then I know people that have a lot of money that want everyone to know, oh, here's my new car. And it's almost funnier watching them on the ride down when they lose everything
right.
than where it is, because
you
they have
that.
a nicer guy. You know,
yeah.
You have to wait for the finish line. But I treat people the same. I mean, but when I do things, I don't really publicize it either. I'm not one to say, okay, today I did this or I donated to this. Like, I believe in karma. I guess you could say that theory of you treat people well. Like, I was at McDonald's this morning at the subway because I had to take the LIRR. It brought back a lot of memories from law school up here. And there was a guy, and he was obviously homeless, and he was hurting. You could tell. And he asked for some change, and I believe him. Like, I trust my instincts. And, you know, I gave him some money and brought him out some McDonald's. And lucky I got to him before they were escorting him out. But, you know, you have to sometimes trust your instincts. But you do people, and I don't expect anything good to come out of that. It's just who I am as a person. It's how I was raised. You know, and I think that's a value system, I think, that's instilled.
Well, something good did come out of it. You made
well, I
that
ended up
guy's
here
morning.
on time. Actually, I made it here on time.
There you go.
No,
there you go.
You made that guy's morning,
yeah,
too.
probably he'll eat.
You know, hey,
so,
I have another day I can...
I can't save the world, but I can do something. And I don't advertise that. And it wasn't my intention to even bring it up today, but since we're more open. But, again, when you talk about relationships with my athletes and my friends that are, you know, athletes and entertainers, this is just how a normal night would be. We just go to a restaurant, hang out, and just talk away like this. And that's reality. There's no, and I've been to some of the best nightclubs in Miami. Yeah. I've drank the best champagnes I've never heard of before, seen of before. I've seen bottles the size of you, you know, with alcohol. But at the end of the day, you know, they're regular people. Same issues, same problems with women, you know, whatever. It's the same. We all have the same problems at the end of the day. Yeah. Someone's sick. There's a family member with a problem. There's always something. So I think what annoys me the most is there are some athletes I know that are really bad people. They're just, and people look at them, I laugh at social media, you're such a great guy, you're such a great player, just because he did on the field. Meanwhile, did you know he did this to someone? You know, did you know this guy pretended he was homeless one time to scam this family out of putting him up while he was in college, and now he's making millions of dollars, and he wouldn't even recognize them on the street if he saw them. But if you go on Twitter,
other than that, he's a great guy.
He plays on my team. He's the greatest guy I've ever seen. Like, please don't leave our team. Please renew. You know, you're the greatest guy ever. No, did you know what he really did?
Yeah.
But they don't see that part. But because he plays a game, he's the greatest guy ever. He wouldn't sign an autograph for a kid. If he saw a handicapped kid on the street, he'd probably walk by him because he was in his way. But people think they're great. And again, morals, I use this line a lot. Perception and reality are two different things.
Unbelievable.
Always. And I think so. And you guys as teachers, I mean, you're the real heroes. I mean, I had luck. I had some very good teachers in high school. I went to a public high school in Plantation, and I had some teachers that probably influenced me the way I am today. And I think those teachers made a difference. And I've tried to reach out to some social media and thank him, because I think there's always a teacher or two that will influence you for the rest of your life. And that's why you're here, that's why you're here, and that's why you're here.
Thank you.
I think you're the most unappreciated profession out there, underpaid, underappreciated, and you have to evolve with the times. I mean, these students, come into class, they can't put their cell phone down for a minute. I mean, I'm at 40 minutes, I'm not shaking yet. So.
Right. Considering the media has demonized teachers as of late, we're very grateful for you saying all of this.
No, it's what I found, with my experience teaching is as long as you're fair to your students, that's all they want is a fair shake. They don't want to be embarrassed in front of the class. Yeah. Like if you have something to say to someone, I usually take them out in the hallway.
Students have told me they've been humiliated. Yeah. They're learning disabled, and teachers have, really shamefully.
And they know when they're doing wrong, and they just want to be treated fairly.
But the vast amount of teachers are caring people. They never made a lot of money. They're there because they love it, and so how has it turned into teachers a public enemy number one?
Yeah. I don't know. I had a teacher, a friend of mine. I'm going to actually plug something. I'm not really
sure.
It's a very good book. It's he just passed away of brain cancer a year ago, and if you've seen my page, you probably Facebook, because we're Facebook friends. I might let you get in on that. We'll work on that. But he died of brain cancer a year ago. He fought it for 7 years. He was a teacher.
Wow.
And he was kind of had a rough upbringing. He was more of a punk of a kid. He'll admit that. And he became a teacher, and he was one of the most popular teachers, and he got hit with brain cancer very young. And a couple years ago, he said, I'm going to visit the United States. I'm going to travel the whole USA and put on social media, does anyone have a bed for me to stay in? Like, I'm dying. I'm going to train, hitchhike my way, whatever I need to do. And he had over 100 responses, and he went on a trip around the United States, and he wrote a book called The Priority List. David Menashe. He went from town to town.
Spell that.
Menasche. It's called The Priority List. You can find it on Amazon and your favorite bookstores nationwide. And it was a very compelling book because he learned, as he's dying, about how he was able to influence some teachers, where he had stories in there about kids that had drug problems, or some kids had sexuality issues, or whatever the issues were. And, he let them know it's okay. Like, you can relate. I'll talk to you. You have a friend. And he changed some lives of some kids, and some of them are top Wall Street brokers, and some of them are teaching. He made a difference, and he wanted to know before he passed if he had made a difference. And before he passed away, Steve Carell bought the rights, and hopefully we'll use that right and that option and do a movie.
That's beautiful.
As biased as I'll be, and this is probably the agent side of me, but if you read the book, you'll understand. If Carell has a chance of winning an Oscar for Best Actor, which I thought Foxcatcher had a very good chance at, this will be the movie that could do it.
Ripples in a stream. He's still giving. Still giving. Daniel, please plug your own
I don't really have anything to plug other than that shameless plug from my friend who asked, please do not give the book before he passed away to everyone. Can you buy a copy so he gets the royalties?
There you go.
Good advice.
I want to make sure that. I'm on Twitter as Gridiron Sports, Gridiron Sports. It's like a spelling bee, Gridiron Sports. That's about it. That's the only way you can really find me. I'm not a social Instagrammer. I'm on Facebook. It's more private. So, but it's been a pleasure. I really thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Daniel Rose. Inspirational segments. Daniel Rose. We will be right back.
Thank you.
We're going to do a live commercial. Hi, I'm Renee Marie. I'm the president of Language of Love Incorporated Foundation. I'm really happy to tell you that we're going to be doing a Language of Love telethon on March 29, 2015 from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Please look for the location on my website, ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And once again, it's ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And the show will be hosted on the Madhouse TV. It really is important for you to be aware of strokes and aphasia. Strokes is the third leading cause of death in America, and the first leading cause of disability. And it really is something that plays no favoritism. And it also really comes when you're not expecting. Nobody expects to have a stroke, and nobody expects to suffer from aphasia. And it really does make a huge impact in your life and change your life in one split second. So we look forward to having everyone join us once again on March 29, 2015 from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. And you can follow us on ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. Once again, it's ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And we look forward to seeing you. God bless.
My name is Dr. Robert Brevard. I'm here for Multi-Medicine in Westbury, New York. We're located at 1065 Old Country Road, Suite 214. Been here for about 15 years. The practice has medical doctors, physical therapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists. We also do pain management, and we have orthopedists on staff. Here at Advanced Multi-Medicine Rehabilitation, we've got physical therapists on staff who treat an array of conditions, from neck pain to back pain, shoulder pain. We treat carpal tunnel. We treat a lot of car accident patients, slip and falls. We treat patients with knee injuries, with ankle injuries. We have state-of-the-art equipment. We've been here for over 15 years. Vast array of diagnostic testing, from x-rays to EMGs. What is an EMG? It's a diagnostic test that allows a doctor to determine where the pinched nerve is. Cora is a physical therapist at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. She's working on Stephanie, who was involved recently in an automobile accident. Stephanie has tight thoracic and cervical musculature, and Cora is doing some myofascial release work and some therapeutic stretching, doing it to help her with her pain. Vicky is also a patient here at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. Vicky is now working her leg muscles, specifically her quadricep muscles, trying to strengthen them after an injury she sustained. If you find yourself in need of any type of physical therapy, please don't hesitate to call Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation, located in Westbury, New York, in Suite 214. Phone number is 516-334-7000, or find us on our website at advancedmultimedicine.com.
And we are back with Legends TV, and we are joined by Seamus Boyle and Natasha Rivera. We have actors, producers, directors, very talented young folk. Tell us about your big project that you have coming up.
I just wrote a short script for a film. It's called Pedicab, and it's a story of an old man who escapes a elderly person's home in order to kind of fulfill some promises that he made to his late wife. And he befriends an indebted pedicab driver, and they ride around the city, and they kind of...
for those who don't know, tell what a pedicab is.
Pedicab is? It's those hustler guys on the street corner trying to get you into their bike with the carriages in the back.
Yeah. Sounds like how I got to the studio today.
Exactly.
It's like $4 a minute.
Yeah.
Craziness.
And they pedal slowly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They pedal super slow, and they've got the stopwatch going, and... So it's this old man and this pedicab driver, and they both need each other in different ways, but in the same at the same time. So, and they ride around the city, and the old man accomplishes things that he had to, and the pedicab guy finds hope. So I'm hoping it'll be a nice.
And of all the subjects, how did this motivate you to do this?
It was my grandfather passed away about 2 years ago, it's okay. Thank you. When he passed away and I was by him on his deathbed, I could kind of see that there were certain things he didn't accomplish in order to die a happier old man. So, the power of screenwriting and making movies or plays, I just thought what a great opportunity to give my grandfather a second chance, but on the screen, and I could make a different ending for his story.
Interesting.
Yes.
And before we show the clip, why don't you tell us a little about yourselves? Natasha, give us a little background.
Yeah, I am producing this short film with him, and we're an engaged couple. We're starting off a production company called the Boiling River Production, and we're aiming to we're aiming to tell stories that are socially conscious and make people kind of see the world with more open eyes and we're trying to be funny and heartwarming at the same time.
Now, my first question would be: is that too much togetherness when living together, working together, creating together?
No. We love working together. We have a really good working relationship. We've worked on a couple of feature films when we were living out in San Francisco, but in different departments. So it was nice to see your best friend every day, but not in the same department.
Yeah, I think it's good to be in different departments.
Okay.
That way we don't rip each other's heads off.
But there's a really cool feeling going to work, and it's not only going to work together, but going to work together with something that we both love, which is film and creating just magic and just storytelling. We both love that and like kind of connected, and you know, our relationship revolves heavily around film, so it's nice to do that. It's not
with any couple, they say you should have mutual goals, and you have mutual creative goals as well, which is great.
Which I found has been key. Yeah, no, it's been great.
That's great. Yeah. So guys, why don't you set up the clip?
So this is the clip from our crowdfunding site. We're on Indiegogo, igg.me/app/pedicab. And we're just going to talk really quick about the short film and how much money we need and what you're going to get for the money.
Okay. So let's go to the clip, folks.
Hi, my name is Seamus Boyle, but you might know me as cute guy number 25 from Royal Pains. I'm also the writer and director of Pedicab.
And I'm Natasha. I'm the producer and assistant director for Pedicab.
Pedicab is the story of a tenacious old man who, confronting his mortality, escapes from an elderly person's home in order to fulfill a promise he made to his late wife.
And in the process, he befriends an indebted pedicab driver named Big Time. But why this short? Why not something like Hamsters on a Piano?
Yeah, Hamsters on a Piano would make for a very interesting documentary film, but for me, Pedicab comes from a more personal place. A couple years ago, my grandfather passed away, and as I sat next to him on his deathbed, I could see that there were certain things he didn't accomplish in order to die a happier old man. Secondly, my mother is a public education teacher. She works with adults from all over the world. And in getting to know some of her students, I've come to realize how hard the immigration process can be. And one day it struck me, after working on another script for a couple of months, that eventually I had to let go. How interesting it would be to see these two characters combined. And lastly, my love with New York City runs very deep, and I find nothing more visually engaging than New York City.
So instead of talking about a pedicab, much better.
So we've got a lot of awesome perks, including custom tote bags, t-shirts, hats, even a pedicab ride around Central Park, custom cigars.
You can be an associate producer, an executive producer, you can name a character, be an extra, we have coasters, lots of cool stuff. And for every $1,000 we raise, I'll be donating 2 hours of my personal time to an elderly home here in Manhattan. So why do we need $7,000? Because that's a lot of money to ask.
Good question. That is a lot of money. First of all, the pedicab film takes place on a pedicab, and pedicabs are very expensive to rent. We need money for the camera equipment rentals, color editing, post-production stuff, music.
Film festival fees, New York City permits, transportation, catering, it all adds up.
So we're gearing up and peddling the word around.
I think they get the film reference already.
You're right. So please, join us for an awesome ride on Pedicab.
And be sure to visit us on Facebook.com/PedicabTheShort, and we're also on Twitter @PedicabTheShort. Be sure to tell your friends. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are back, Pedicab, and
very good. Thank you.
I'm going to ask you a very tough question. Don't hate me, but in the course of a week, I probably get every day a pitch for help me support this project, make this project, Indiegogo, etc., so on. Tell people why, of all the projects, they should support.
To be honest, this is a project that comes from the heart, and for me, this project's going to be made regardless of how much money is given to me. It's kind of I'd like people to join me in contributing to this story, and I think it's something that, it's not me making a film for myself as an actor. I'm barely in the film. I wanted to make a film for my grandfather, and kind of like an ode to an older generation. So, and I want younger audiences to kind of leave the theater and hopefully they think about appreciating themselves and their time here on Earth and the ones that they love around them. And I think that's just a story worth contributing to and sharing and supporting.
That's beautiful.
So many people can relate to that too. You know, how many of us, who doesn't love their grandparents?
Yeah.
You know, we all do. And
in America, a lot of grandparents are raising kids.
Yeah.
You know, the dad's gone, the mother's working or whatever, and
as a younger generation, especially tied so deeply in social media, we tend to forget things that, you know, forget about, you know, 50 years ago, we forget about things that happened yesterday. So we're constantly thinking about, you know, what's happening right now, and I'm hoping that this film will just make the audience go, you know, what's going on and what came before and how should I move on moving forward.
Sounds like a film about humanity.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
More human, person to person.
Exactly.
And just awaking that humanity and that connection between people, yeah.
I find there's a lot of ageism in America.
Yes.
You know, you hear the word old and it's always in a negative connotation. That movie's old. That song's old.
Yeah.
Well, what, you know, so I think something like this is very positive. Show respect for your elders.
Exactly.
You know, absolutely.
Exactly. And I'm hoping to find, we're going to start the casting process hopefully within the next 2 or 3 weeks. And the main guy, I'm hoping to cast in the 60s and then maybe early 70s. But if we can get someone in their 60s and, you know, do some makeup work to make them look in the late 70s, early 80s, you know, so I'm hoping to cast a nice older gentleman to play the leading role.
There you go.
So
Jay, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Don't look
That's
at me,
all
man. I am
trying
right here.
I was going to say that you're starting from a very important place, which is passion.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I know Daniel mentioned earlier when he was on that the first thing is start with love. You gotta love what you do.
That's right. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's
So tell us a little about your career prior to the film.
Prior to the film, I started acting semi-professionally when I was a kid, around 12 years old. I was fortunate enough to be born and raised in New York City. I went to performing arts school, and I got a manager early on. And I've done off-Broadway. I was in a show recently with Edie Falco, so that was a big milestone for me. And then I had a little TV spot, which I showed in the clip, which is Royal Pains on USA. So those have been like the 2 biggest like career achievements so far. And yeah.
Okay, so I have another tough question for you. If you had a choice between a mindless sitcom that would make you incredibly wealthy, or doing a drama that would, you know, really inspire and change the world, but paid a fraction as much, which one would you take?
Oh man.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I want to say the dramatic piece because I love theater, but there's something also cool about the sitcoms because you make all this money and then you can do your own projects, which can be deeper, and I think that might be a smarter business decision down the line. And you see guys like, you know, Brad Pitt or, you know, any of the bigger stars who now have their own production companies, they had to do the sitcoms. It's almost like you're earning your stripes. So I don't look down upon those sitcoms, but that's what I'd say, yeah.
And Natasha, what do you consider some highlights thus far?
I recently was a second assistant director on a film executive produced by Martin Scorsese that's going to be at Tribeca this year. It's called The Wannabe.
Nice.
And then while we were living in San Francisco, I worked on 3 independent features out there, all in the second assistant director role. So I'm hoping to eventually get up into the producing world soon.
Yeah, I've been to San Francisco. Very creative art scenes out there.
Yeah.
Very eclectic, great city. Reminds me very much of the East Village or Williamsburg.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful place. We actually drove cross country twice to live over there for a couple months.
Oh, that's
so
great.
that
That's
itself
great.
was an amazing experience.
It's a drive.
Oh yeah.
Steve looks like he's itching to ask.
No, I was just going to
Yeah.
say, speaking of San Francisco, Sausalito's a beautiful. Have you ever been to Sausalito?
Yeah, we went up there,
We
right?
filmed for 2 days on a film that we were working on in Sausalito,
Yeah,
like
that's a
near
great
Tiburon
location,
and all those
yeah.
places.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the hills and stuff. Right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So we had last week Jay Hardy, who's a rapper, but he's also a producer, and he's doing web series. As actors, what do you think of that as a medium to get your names out there and your work out there?
I think they're great. I was writing a web series for a while, but I found myself to focus more on film. But I think if you have the equipment and you're knowledgeable with basic editing skills, I think web series are really smart way to get your name out there and get people interested in you weekly, I guess.
In 2015, is there any hierarchy? Because in the old days, it was like, this guy's a movie star, he's not going to do TV, you know, and you kind of think of TV as a higher level than web series. But I think if it's quality and it gets your work out there, does it matter at this point?
I think Netflix kind of changed the game on that. Anything streaming now is kind of taking precedence over our attention as an audience. For me personally, I would tune in more to a Netflix original than I would a show in its 5th season, just because it's all episodes are available right then and there. And I don't know, I think every actor can go ahead and get within every medium now because everything is so accessible to the audience, so you're not going to miss out being the film star if you do a TV show.
And it also drives the competition, and it forces the, I guess the elite inner circle to realize that they don't control everything, that there are people at home who can gain a huge audience, and that they have to keep their eyes out, that there might be the next rising star that they just can't keep out.
Right.
And someone can create something by themselves.
A noted filmmaker recently said that with the inexpensive nature of the technology today, you could do a film on your iPhone every weekend. You could do a 5-minute, like Steve's been doing. You could do a short film every weekend for next to nothing. That's quality.
Oh yeah, I think there's a guy who got
Was that Duplass?
Yeah. I believe so.
I'm a huge fan of him. Yeah, his entire film was shot on an iPhone 6.
Yeah, he did like a 90-minute film on an iPhone. Yeah.
And it's in
It's awesome.
It's
in
in
Sundance,
Sundance, or it's in all the things.
And
Yeah.
it's really cool, the power of technology and
Didn't
internet.
I'm
and
sorry.
yeah. Oh no, please go.
Didn't Modern Family do an entire episode on
Through
iPad
like
and
Skype or
iPhone?
something? Yeah.
And Natasha, one final question before we wrap it up. Women, there's always the controversy in Hollywood that women don't have enough power, women over 40 don't get roles anymore. I mean, what would you do to change this?
As a writer and as a producer, I kind of want to go and get roles for those people who have become the underdog now, and I think older women, Latina women, because that pulls at my heartstrings, and just embracing the diversity and embracing womanhood, because we're definitely not as
represented as we should be.
Absolutely. Yeah, and as a filmmaker, I aim to always have a spot for a woman on my film, either in front of the camera or behind the camera.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So one more time, please plug the film, and,
Oh, yeah.
and everybody should contribute to this. This is going to be a great project.
Well, thank you so
Plug
much.
it one more time.
It's Pedicab the short film, and you can find us on Indiegogo if you type in Pedicab the short film. And contribute whatever you can, and or just share the Facebook. You can find us on Facebook as well at Pedicab the short film.
Yeah, that's another thing. We'll ask people to promote projects, and some people are too lazy to even move their wrist. Come on, click like, click share, throw a few bucks in the till. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Exactly.
They always have $150 for the cable company. You
That's
know,
right.
that supports
That's
a
right.
monster corporation.
Just one less, 6-pack maybe in the weekend.
Exactly.
But one less post about Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
That's
One
right.
more about these
That's what I
indie
told you.
filmmakers.
I said if you don't support independent art, independent films, independent music, you're not going to have it.
Yep.
And then you're going to have no one to complain to when you're listening to the same stuff, watching the same movies. So it's almost like you have to support the independent scene.
Absolutely. I could do 90 minutes just on pirating. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
people lose
Oh, yeah.
unbelievable amounts of income, and then they get discouraged to do the next project.
Yep.
No doubt. Anyway, on that happy note,
Yes.
yeah, we wish you luck with your project.
Thank you so much.
There you go. Thank you all. Thank you. Interesting show, eclectic mix as always. Legends TV, each and every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard at madhousetv.com, legendstvnyc.com. Check us out. We have 100 or so shows in the can. Enjoy. Thank you so much, folks.